Hi guys, welcome back to the Aspiring Home Cook. My name is Trisha, and in today's video I'm going to show you how I put together this simplified version of a beautiful, flavorful dal. And today I'm serving this up with some jeera rice. This is a gorgeous Indian lentil stew, and it's typically made with hulled and split lentils. I tend to use one of two, either a moong dal, which is a split yellow lentil, or a masoor dal, which is your hulled and split red lentils. Both of them lend themselves to this particular recipe really well. So let's go on over to the kitchen counter and get started with today's recipe. The first thing we're going to do is start by soaking our rice. I'm using basmati rice and I've just washed this through a couple of times. I'm just going to leave it to soak now for a minimum of 15 to 20 minutes or up to half an hour. Today for the dal, I'm using moong dal or split and hulled yellow lentils. I've got about half a cup of the dal over here, and like we did the rice, I'm just going to rinse this through a couple of times and leave it to soak for about 5 to 10 minutes. Once that's done, we're going to start off by boiling the dal. And like you can see here, this dal has softened a little bit, and that's what we're looking for. I'm going to drain this water off, just rinse everything through in fresh water one more time, and add the lentils to my pressure cooker. Every pressure cooker is different, so please refer to your manufacturer's instructions and decide on how much water to add to the pot and how long to cook your lentils to get them to be nice and soft and tender. Before I can close the lid, I'm going to add in a little bit of turmeric powder, about a quarter teaspoon, and some salt to taste. All that's left to do is cover the pressure cooker and let your dal or your lentils cook away. For me, it takes about 5 minutes from this point on using this pressure cooker on my induction cooktop. Now, if you don't have a pressure cooker, you can also cook your lentils on the stovetop. Just pop everything in a pot and cook it through till the lentils are nice and soft and tender. Now this is going to take a little more time than cooking it in a pressure cooker, but it'll do the job just fine. Now while we've got those lentils cooking away, let's start with cooking off this rice. This has been soaking for about 20 to 25 minutes and I'm happy with that. I'm just going to drain the water off and rinse that through before we can start cooking. For the jeera rice, here's what we're going to do. I've got a vessel on some medium heat here, and we're going to start by heating up a little bit of oil, about a tablespoon or thereabouts. You don't want the oil to get too hot, but you want it to be nice and warm. Into this goes about half to 3/4 of a teaspoon of cumin seeds or jeera. And almost immediately the jeera starts sizzling away. Make sure that you've got the heat on medium here because the spices can burn really easily. Add the rinsed, soaked and drained rice into the pot and very gently stir that around just to distribute the spices and the oil, and we're going to let that rice fry off for about a minute or so. Into this I'm going to pop in some water at room temperature. Here I've used a 1:2 ratio, so 1 measure of rice to 2 measures of water. I've used 2/3 of a cup of rice, so 1 1/3 of a cup of water goes in. Add some salt to taste, and like I've shared in my peas pulao recipe, one way to check whether your rice is going to be well seasoned is add your salt, give it a good stir, and taste a little bit of the liquid from the vessel. Now, if that liquid is seasoned well, you know your rice is going to be too. If not, you can adjust the amount of salt at this stage. We're going to let this come to a boil, and once you can see little bubbles appear like this, just turn the heat to a low or a simmer, pop a lid on, and you're going to let this cook off until all of that liquid has been absorbed. Once all that liquid is absorbed, don't open the vessel. I've just opened to show you what it will look like. Keep the rice covered, take it off the heat and let this rest for about 5 minutes. This helps the rice develop a beautiful fluffy texture. We're going to move back to our lentils. Once the pressure from that pressure cooker has fully dropped to a safe point and you open the lid, you should be left with a dal that is cooked through and is almost mushy. That's the texture you're looking for. If it hasn't quite reached that texture yet, put the lid on and let it go for a little while more until it gets to that stage. all that's left to do is add a little bit of a bagar or tempered spices to the dal and you'll be ready to serve. So for that, I'm going to add a little bit of oil in a vessel on some medium heat, again about a spoonful. And once that oil has warmed up, I'm going to add a pinch of asafoetida or hing. This is something you can find very easily in all Indian grocery stores. You're just looking for a pinch of this stuff. It's really potent, but when added in small quantities, it adds a beautiful flavor and aids with digestion as well. To this, I'm going to add a little bit of cumin seeds here. This is about half a teaspoon of cumin seeds, and I've got some crushed garlic, about 4 cloves. Give it a little bit of a stir through and let all those flavors get into the oil. Add in about half a teaspoon of red chili powder. I'm using a Kashmiri chili powder because I just want a little bit of that color and flavor. I don't want too much of heat in that dal. And stir that through quickly and immediately add your boiled lentils into the pot. The chili powder tends to burn really quickly, so please be watchful and don't leave that pot unattended. If you find that the lentils have cooked but not as fluid as you'd like them, you can adjust the consistency by adding a little bit of water at this stage. Give everything a good stir and let this bubble away for about a minute to let all those flavors get into the lentils. Now once it's reached the consistency that you're happy with, I've got a 1/4 teaspoon of garam masala powder that I'm adding right at the very end of the cooking process to maintain all of its flavor. Turn the heat off, stir the spice mix through. At this point you can check and adjust your seasoning and sprinkle in some finely chopped fresh coriander leaves and stalks. Your dal is now ready to be served. And while you can definitely serve this up with some plain steamed rice, this jeera rice will add another dimension of flavor to your meal. Now just before serving, lightly fluff up that rice using a fork. Be gentle so that you don't break those grains of rice. And you end up with a beautiful portion of fluffy rice. Top that off with a little bit of the dal that we've prepared. Sprinkle a little more fresh coriander. And you can either serve this out with a nice simple salad or like I've done here, just some chopped carrot and cucumber sticks. If you've got pickled onions, that would also go really well with this meal. And there you go guys, my simplified version of a dal made extra special with that jeera rice. This one's sure to hit the spot on any given day. I hope you enjoyed today's recipe. If you did, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and share it with family and friends that you think might like it too. If you haven't done so already, please subscribe to my channel. And once you do, click on that little bell icon so that you get notified every time I upload a new video. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'm going to see you really soon with another delicious recipe. So till then, take care. Bye.